Okay, so far in trigonometry we've been looking at right-angled triangles, but in fact there are some rules about trigonometry that can be used with any triangle, and these are what they are. First of all, you have to label your triangle ABC with capital letters for the angles, and then ABC with small letters for the sides. And if you look at this, you see that it's labelled so that angle A and side A are opposite each other. Likewise with B opposite B and C opposite C. So the first rule is for the area of a triangle, and that can be worked out from a half times side A times side B times the sine of angle C. Second rule is, and indeed the third rule, the sine rule and the cosine rule, they're both about finding missing sides or angles, and which one you use depends on the information that you have available to you. Now if you look at the sine rule, it's got A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. So that side divided by sine of that angle equals that side divided by sine of that angle, which in turn equals that side divided by the sine of that angle. So any side divided by the sine of the angle that it's opposite comes to the same answer whichever side and angle you pick in the same triangle. So if you're going to use that one, you actually need to have both a side and an opposite angle amongst the information that you have in order to be able to work anything out. And the third rule, a squared equals b squared plus c squared, those a, b's and c's are all sides, minus 2bc, side still, cos a is an angle. And this again is about working out missing sides and angles, but in this one you don't need to have an opposite pair of side and angle amongst the information you're given. So this becomes a bit clearer with a few examples. And here's an exam question. Diagram shows a triangle ABC. AB equals 6 centimeters. BC equals 5 centimeters. So from B to C, 5 centimeters. Angle B, 75 degrees. You're given that sine 75 is 0.966. Calculate the area of the triangle. Okay, so we're being asked for the area, so it's clearly going to be this first rule here. Area equals a half AB sine C. Now first of all we're going to have to label this triangle so that it matches our formula. Now in our problem the angle is this 75 here, but in the formula it talks about the angle C. The only angle in the formula is angle C. So we actually need to relabel this so that that 75 is C and not B. And then the side opposite is side C. Side A can be this one here, opposite angle A. And then I'm going to relabel that angle as B and that side there as side B. So I'm kind of ignoring the labeling that it already has in the diagram because we need the 75 degrees in the problem to match the fact that the angle in our formula is called C. So using that and that formula, area is a half AB sine C. So A is this side of 5 centimeters, B is this side of 6 centimeters, and C is this angle of 75 degrees. So we can put all that information in. Area equals a half times 5 times 6 times sine of 75. Now they've told us that sine 75 is 0.966. So we can put that in and work it all out. This first bit comes to 15, so we've got 15 times 0.966, 14.49 centimeters squared. Okay, here's another exam question. It's about a clock, and they tell you that the hands are 6.2 centimeters and 4.5 centimeters, and you have to work out the distance between the tips of the hands. So it basically forms a triangle, and you've got to work out the third side of the triangle. Now we can work out the angle between the hands because it's 5 hours out of 12 hours, and all the way around the clock 12 hours is 360 degrees. So each hour is 30 degrees, 360 divided by 12. So 5 hours makes 150 degrees. So that's 150 degrees in there because it's 5/12 of 360. Now if we know that angle in the middle is 150 and we know the two sides, then we're going to have to use this rule called the cosine rule, because we don't know anything about angles and their opposite sides. For example, we know it's 150 degrees there, but we don't know what the side opposite is. We know this is 6.2 centimeters, but we don't know what the angle opposite is. And we know that this is 4.5 centimeters, but we don't know what the angle opposite that is. So we can't use the sine rule, because for that you need to know a side and the angle opposite it. So we're going to have to use the cosine rule. So if we take the cosine rule and just start labeling this triangle, I'm going to label the angle in the middle as A, because the angle in the rule is A. See, it has cos A in the rule, and that's an angle. So the only angle we know is the one in the middle, so we'll call it A. Then the side opposite is side A. And then I can label the other two any way I want, really. I might as well call that angle at the top B, the side opposite it side B, call the other angle C, and the side opposite side C with a little c. I could have done that the other way around and it would have worked out the same, because if you look at the formula, B and C could be interchanged and you'd still get the same thing. Anyway, take that formula, put in everything we know. So 4.5 squared is B squared, because B is 4.5. Instead of C squared, C is 6.2, so I've got 6.2 squared, minus 2 times B times C, 2 times 4.5 times 6.2, times cos of A. A, remember, was 150 degrees, so I've got 150 degrees instead of A there. So I've put in everything I know in the formula, and then I can work all that out step by step there. And it comes to A squared equals 107.1, so A is the square root of 107.1, which is 10.34. So that side there is 10.34.